Well, let's call the meeting to order and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. I remember. That's good.
You're first.
All the words. Okay, so we've got additions to the agenda. We've got a measure 4 discussion. That's one added item.
And we could put that under new business H.
Measure 4 discussion. Okay, so make a motion to approve agenda.
I so move.
Okay, we got a motion, we got a second.
Second.
Okay, moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Alright, agenda is approved. So, consent agenda, minutes from last meeting. Take a quick peek. Oh boy. Okay, anybody have any additions or corrections on minutes? Okay, if not, we just move right to board bills, August board bills. I think I did have one question on here. Where'd it go? It was like a water sewer bill, city of Richardson.
You notice that, huh?
$5,300. Yeah. What is there? What's?
We don't know.
Oh.
Yeah. We're working on figuring it out. We noticed that the football field meter and the shop meter were higher than they've ever been. So we're thinking there might be a leak. So DJ shut off the water to both, and then he was going to talk to the city and see what's going on. But we don't feel any soft spots on the field. It's not, but it's the field itself was $3,000.
Oh, based on the
Yeah.
what we think is an incorrect water meter.
Right.
Because it's never. I mean, I know we buy a fair amount of water in the summer, but I don't think it's ever been low.
Yeah, it's about 2,500 more than this time of the year.
Okay.
It normally is.
Okay. So is that? I mean, do we exclude approving that, or what do we, or what do we want to do there?
I think we should exclude it, actually. Take it out. And
depending on what actually is found, could still be responsible for it. It's
Right.
on our end. I mean,
We could approve and then look for a credit if it's.
or that. I mean, it's.
yeah.
You know, you guys think?
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure they'll work with us too. So even if you approve it and they give us a different bill,
Okay,
that would be okay
I
too.
guess I'm okay with that.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Lots of renewals this time of year.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Renewals and curriculums, looks like. Any other questions on bills or anything else that's odd?
I think that was really the only thing this go around.
Okay.
That was more than normal.
Right. Okay, if you guys are good there, let's go to balance sheet. Next.
I guess my question, I'm just trying to understand how the balance sheet reads. When we look down at the revenue received, we are calling the $444,841 a negative, right? And then when we go to revenue summary report, we see that same $444,841. I guess I'm trying to understand why, and when we publish to our balance sheet, that we consider that on the line of revenue received and less. So we truly were negative on revenue received, or?
I mean, that's how SUI just pulls it through. It's not necessarily that it's deducting it from your revenue. I mean, or
Well, it ends up deducting it from the assets, the current assets, right? I'm sure this is just a clerical thing, but I'm not following.
Yeah, I've
why
tried to
they-
understand these balance sheets for years too.
Right.
It's a certain way they're done and it doesn't make, if you're used to looking at regular business balance sheets, these don't make sense.
Yeah, I hear you.
Where are you looking?
But that revenue received is a positive in there somewhere.
So,
I mean,
You know,
it's-
I don't
under
know if that was
other
added earlier.
assets,
I mean,
item
like,
302,
like that's what we're
Oh, okay.
it's defined as less revenue received. And then when you get down to the total bar, it actually deducts that from the assets. But like I said, if I'm reading the revenue summary report right, it comes in as a negative there because it's saying that, or in parentheses, perhaps that's not a negative, that's just maybe the way they handle it, I'm not sure.
No, it's a
But it's not.
It's a negative.
It's a
Yeah,
negative.
it is over there.
it's subtracted.
Yeah, and it's subtracted
Every
from our
month,
total assets, so. Is that just a versus budget? Is that what that means?
Or versus your projected tax income, cause is that a number in here somewhere or not necessarily?
Not yet. So we just sent our preliminary tax information to the county, and then we won't have a finalized budget until October, because they won't have their valuations until
Right.
September sometime, hopefully. So we have a projected, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but I don't think that's in here yet. Yeah.
I guess we don't spend a lot of time on it, I just kinda like to, maybe I gotta spend a little more time
Or-
trying to understand it too.
Yeah, it's odd, I'll agree.
But it's
So
funny that it comes out as a.
yeah, I always thought there was a line item in here in our revenue or in our balance sheet that said, hey, this is the tax income that's you're going to receive for the year, and then they take out the revenue you've already received.
Okay,
That I can't say that's for sure.
Is that our August payment?
Amber's gonna
No,
be a
this is
funny
just-
look, I don't think I'm
This
right.
is just through
Oh,
July.
yeah.
I mean, I mean, they kinda do that on the revenue report.
Or maybe that's on the revenue
Yeah.
side? Okay. What revenue?
We'll look into that.
Yeah,
We'll get an
appreciate it.
answer for you.
Well, thank you.
So that same number is on the actual revenue that we've received for year to date. So yeah, if you guys wanna look at revenue, of course, we don't yet, as Russ said, have a budget to compare it to, so we're just. Revenue received early in the year, looks like most of it came from what, per pupil aid?
Yeah,
State aid, some oil and gas production money in there already, and then everything else is pretty minor in comparison. It's a good time to look at just a few numbers instead of a whole giant sheet. The line that says other restricted Fed fund, that's federal dollars, is that right?
that's Esser.
That's ESSER?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So some of that came in, right?
And that should be it.
Oh, that's
Yeah, that's it.
everything?
Yeah.
That's 1, 2. How about other revenue for 28,000, what would that, I mean,
That was from the Halliday dissolution, so they set up an account, they said for 1 year, and any funds that came in, they put into an account, and then after 1 year, they dispersed whatever was in that account to the schools based on like your
based
percentage
on the
that,
percentage we ended up with.
so that was our portion.
Alright. Anybody have any more questions on revenue? Say it's a good time to hit every line.
Yeah.
Expenditure report. That is a big one, that looks regular.
That one's really not gonna say anything. We don't,
Yeah,
don't
so-
have a budget yet, so you're not gonna see really anything.
We spent 306. Less than we took in. And then the last one will be student activity, basically just fund balances. And any questions on any of those?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Second.
Alright, so motion and second. To approve, any discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries, alright. Okay, principal report. Mrs. Gullickson, to go first.
Yes, okay, I have, after registration, we have
Oh.
140 pre-K through 4th, +3, and I'm giving that +3 because we have a family that will be returning as soon as life circumstances allow. So they've registered their kids elsewhere due to a traumatic event, but they will be back as soon as mom and dad can get back. So that's where the +3 kind of comes in, so we're at 140 plus those 3. Just some staffing updates. We, per board agenda, will be hiring a special education teacher for Taylor. She has a teaching degree, but she is looking at going to UND for the resident teaching program to get her special ed degree to cover those services for us this year. With that, we'll still have somebody with West River that will help with case managing. So that's kind of where we're at with that. Some building updates. In the last week we had H.A. Thompson & Sons come, and I think that's who is doing the HVAC stuff in the gymnasium. So they came to look over all their stuff, and I think at the last meeting they were like, what, 120 days out or something, I think. And so when I talked to them, he said they're still waiting on the units that go inside, like up on the stage and those still are not in. But he would like to do the outside work and get all of that stuff done before winter comes. So he's kind of working on getting the units set outside, everything wired into the inside, so when those units do come, they can get those put in. Casey Dresser will be coming tomorrow to do some electrical work for some outlets. He's looking at putting that outlet in the gym for the camera that needs to go in for the huddle. And there's no outlet where that camera needs to go. So he'll be looking at that and updating some fans and things like that in a classroom. So he'll be there tomorrow. He has not looked at the huddle situation for the gym, so he's not positive that he'll get to that tomorrow because I wasn't aware that it needed an outlet on that certain side. So he'll figure that out tomorrow. Emergency Systems was out today to connect our system to our fire system to dispatch. So like if the fire alarm goes off, they will automatically be dispatched. So that was taken care of today. They have to finish setting up some accounts on the computer, but he said that should be all set to go. Some other things, Brandy Kitson, our library over at Taylor, put on a free rummage sale during registration. There are clothes and books and amazing stuff in the cafeteria over in Taylor. She's gonna leave that set up through open house on Monday. So we had a great turnout. She's got a lot of stuff in there and she moved a lot of stuff out. So she's just gonna donate the rest of that when that's done. And my last thing is handbook revisions, and that is in a folder, in the board folder. Most of them are just wording on things that needed some clarification for students and parents that I felt were not what we were doing anymore. The biggest change you'll see is attendance. So the attendance document in there was utilized last year, but it was not sent out until like the beginning of October. So I simply took what was approved with Mr. Bouts and Mr. Patterson last year and just put it into the handbook rather than having two separate documents going out. So that is just now a part of the document. So if you look at what's in yellow, what I have highlighted in yellow is currently what the handbook says, and what is in green is what I would like for the handbook to say. So if you have questions on any of those, I can explain further, but the big one is the attendance.
And that,
Okay, so
we have two different documents.
Correct.
Okay, so looking at pre-K through 4, is this something that needs board approval, or is it?
It's more administration, it's kind
Minor
of,
admin changes?
yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
So then for clarification on like the playground rules, last year I had some parents calling about this.
Yep.
You're removing the 50-degree language and proposing for the student attire around weather conditions. You know, it's specifically said below 50 degrees. Are you proposing then? I don't know, you still have the 50 degrees.
Yeah, I'm gonna still leave that in. I just broke it apart because we've had a lot of questions on when is the snow pants, when can we wear snow boots, and now the playground is a mud mess and they still have to wear their snow pants, otherwise they come in all muddy. So I just was trying to clean up some of the language, like the 50 degrees is still in there. I just broke it apart so it was more user-friendly for the parents to find what it was that they were trying to access for their students. So I didn't change any of the wording, I just broke it apart. The only wording that is changed is on number 9, because we've had an issue with this. So instead of saying no toys or electronic devices are permitted on the playground, no toys, balls, or electronic devices from home are permitted on the playground.
Oh.
Because we had an issue with, so I just added some things in there. Number 10 is more just broken apart for my sanity, maybe more than anything.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, I guess, to me the 50 degrees, I just urge you guys to take a look at that temperature, and I mean, you know, the information I got was, well, I mean, a sweatshirt at 50, 45 degrees, we might be all right. To me, empower the teachers, and, you know, don't necessarily have to prescribe a particular number. Just if you have an issue, take care of it, right? And the other one, I don't know, I don't have this one's fact, but secondhand, I was hearing that the enforcement of this was have the students stand beside the wall. Well, if the problem is that we're outside when it's too cold and we're just standing on a wall, if anything, you're gonna get colder. So just probably think about the you know, just having the policies fit the need, right? I mean, I get the issue where students coming in wearing shorts at, you know, 45 degrees. We got some challenges there. So. And then you mentioned the mud and the playground and that, and I'd encourage, you know, Mr. Ziegler, if there's something that needs done to help with the ground and
there's
keep
a lot
the building. Yeah.
over at Taylor.
I think we could just, if we could hear about it, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that's all I had for you guys.
One question I had with emergency services coming, did they remove that fire suppression system like they said they were going to?
Is that the fire extinguisher that's like obsolete in the back?
Yep.
So Ross said today that they were told that they were going to disable it far enough that we should be able to remove it ourselves.
Right.
And so I don't know that that was his deal, because he asked if it was going to be removed, and Ross said that we were waiting for it to be taken down far enough so that we could remove it, and he knew nothing about it. The gentleman that was out today knew nothing about that.
Okay.
So.
Okay, anything else for elementary principal? Questions? All right, thank you, Mrs. Johnson. Dr. Vogel.
Personnel, we got a phone call from Sam Martin that she may be able to join us for art this year. Can you take one, pass it on? Actually, I need one too. So she's working with Lindsay and I to make sure that we can get some things together. She's looking at 2 days a week like she did last year, and that would help out so that teachers just have a little less time to focus on their course. So hopefully that works out. We're still advertising for a 6th grade teacher, paraprofessional, and a PE teacher. I guess Mr. Ziegler has a few leads on a couple things, and we have a couple people that said that they're applying for paraprofessional at this time. So if we happen to get 2 paraprofessionals, we won't be looking any farther at getting a 6th grade teacher. If we happen to get a 6th grade teacher, we'll be hiring 1 paraprofessional. So the extra paraprofessional was only if we couldn't get a 6th grade teacher to break up assistance with that classroom and that teacher for extra small group work.
So
Yep.
what went on there, you know, we had received some communication about, you know, a fellow from Canada or...
He, we found out some more information about him, but the main thing was ESPB. The way his transcript review came back again was an associate's degree.
Okay.
But then this one company gave him credit for his work experience, and they said it would be equivalent to a bachelor's, but ESPB doesn't take from them.
Okay.
They have to have a certain certification. So to get him caught up, get him registered, we'd be through the year before we even get anything.
Okay.
So
then, to clarify, the plan was 1 teacher with 2 paras? Is that the...
Yeah,
Yep.
Which probably at this point is what we're looking at. Yeah, we still were replacing 1 para, so it's not 2 extras, it would be 1 new one.
Okay.
So 1 had left us and we're replacing that one.
And then we're gonna cease trying to advertise to even...
If we get the 2 paras, then
yeah,
we'll
if we
cease
get the 2
advertisement.
pairs, yeah. Yep.
Handbook update, change that we have this year according to our leadership teams, which they had a good idea. We talked about how On number 9 of detention. So if the student fails to attend detention or creates a disciplinary problem while in detention, the student will have 2 hours of in-school suspension following the designated detention time. During the in-school suspension, the student will be required to attend 2 hours of behavioral intervention training. And that's with a counselor, kind of just to see if there's anything that they need help with, or if there's some guidance, conversations, some education with the courses. Instead of having them in ISS for a whole day and missing out of education, they'd come out just for working with the counselor for those few hours and go back to class. So the least amount of class time they miss, the best. So
the item number 9 is all new?
The thing I said before was in-school suspension.
Oh.
Like a full day, and now it's the 2 hours with the training.
So 2 hours of behavioral intervention training, how do we fill 2 hours of, do we have a curriculum or something like that?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's through Sunrise Youth Bureau. They have counselors that would, they would come out and lead that with those students.
So it's not our own counselor?
She'd be involved.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah.
Any other questions on that?
And that's just if they fail to attend detention or creates problems, okay?
Yeah.
How did registration go? Everything?
Registration went really good. So I don't have numbers for you today just because we do have a couple families that are moving, and then we have some open enrollments depending on your approval tonight that'll change my numbers. So a few going out, a couple coming in. So I'll have updated numbers soon. Our system, our Power School system, actually, yes, we can do it by hand, but we could miss 1 or 2. So as soon as our first day starts, it'll be
You got a rough number?
in clear. I can look it up for you in a few minutes. Sarah and John said they didn't have everyone in yet, so. Then we have Great Western Consortium. So we've been working the past year on finding some art options for our students. We have been working NDCDE. NDCDE raised their prices quite high to the point that we could maybe join a consortium and get them a live teacher on ITV. So I worked with Bill Strasser through Great Western Consortium and then Mr. Ziegler. And we'll be offering our high school courses, 9 through 12 through them. Miss Lowe will still be the art teacher supervisor because she's actually getting an art teacher degree and she has a lot of art background. She's able to assist the students very well. So she'll still be in there as monitor, but the teacher will be over ITV for the high school. I did propose because if Mrs. Martin comes back, then she would have 7th grade art. She's allowed to make her full-time, she's allowed to teach through junior high, so we can add a junior high for her. But she can't do both because they're at both ends of the day. So I did propose to Mr. Strasser if they're able to do an 8th grade art, and he's just going to check on and get back. As of right now, I don't have high hopes on that, but so 8th grade might be on NDCDE, which is fine, but it's nice because then they get something different and they're not repeating the same thing over and over. They're getting different teachers, so it's a little bit adversitized instead of similar classes.
So you guys know the difference between NDCDE and Great Western, Great Northwest?
No.
A little bit, but go ahead. Yeah.
So NDCDE is all computer based. So you send in the students' information, they send you computer access, username and password. So the students go on the computer and their only communication with their teacher is through email or through the computer like assignments. Where the network is video. So they're in a class with a teacher, watching a teacher online, do the projects, do the things, make assignments. And then I think that's usually a lot better education than just staring at a screen or a computer screen. So GWN is a little bit more expensive, but like Misty said, it's pretty close with the amount that NDCDE raised. So, but I think it's worth it for the kids.
And then the other one, which we can tap into, or is this similar as the RACTC, right?
For CDE courses, yeah.
For CTE courses.
And they're like
Some of the
GWN.
acronyms.
Yeah, and they're like the Great Western.
Right.
Their teachers are online and so they're actually combined, aren't they? RACTC and
They're looking at combining, they're starting to run the
Yeah.
same schedule, they're starting to running the same registration. We do have some students that are taking RACTC, like heavy operating equipment. We have some people looking at that and a couple other ones at this time.
Yeah.
And then we are getting on the anatomy table and some other things for sciences through RACTC.
Cool.
So, yep. Any other questions regarding that? As things come up, I know people always have questions regarding different programs and stuff, so I guess I value your feedback if you hear things so that we can decide what's maybe best for the kids in the future. The next thing is the professional development schedule for the year. The innovation team, which included Mr. Patterson, Mr. Lucas Weber, Mrs. Colleen Brown, Mrs. Amanda Adamson, and myself, completed the training at innovation and then included all the state mandatory training and created a schedule regarding what we needed to do. We did have a couple different updates based on mental health. Had some training when we had them scheduled through the village, and that's required training for all staff through the state. So we had to switch that a month, and then we also, I think Lindsay brought it up, which we needed to update our CPI training. So we're looking at adding that in, but that counts as state mental health for student safety. So we took out one of our village trainings and added the CPI. And then we also have to update first aid and CPR this year. So the ones highlighted in yellow are ones that all the staff have to attend. And then the other ones, there will be para and staff training at some of them, but they're required for the teachers in their contract. So, and this is according to our original plans of engagement learning, what our next steps are, trying things in the classroom, personalized learning, just having students make more decision about things that they want to learn about as they get into the higher learning options. So we have some safety training in there with law enforcement, and then we have some Title I and data chat work. On the back, if you flip it over, it shows that teachers that attend all trainings, not including the preschool service for Schoology and new teacher training, can get up to 47.5 hours, which means they can qualify for 3 credits through UND. Since we had some last minute changes last week, that UND app is not done. I will have that done this week, and then as long as they don't have any questions, which a lot of times they really like our plans and say they're pretty high end, but they do have questions and something has to adjust, I'll let you know what's changed after that.
Do we pay for the credit through UND?
No, the teachers pay for their own credit. But what's really nice is if for some reason they have a sick day or they can't attend something family-wise, and they might not necessarily gain the 3 credits, but they could go for 1 or 2 credits. Okay. So they still gain credits.
Could you give us just a dollar figure of what paying for that credit would cost the district?
I can look.
Usually, I mean,
it's $45 to $50 a
a
credit.
credit, right, so it
I think
depends
I
how
paid
many.
170 for 3 credits this spring. I think it was about 170 for 3.
No, I just think it's,
I feel like that's,
we put a lot
It's
on our
like
teachers, and
55.
it's one of the few careers where you have to keep going to school for your entire life to maintain employment, so might be something we can
But yeah,
take care of.
if you would like a specific amount, I will get that.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Okay.
And then the innovation team that comes up with this, do we rotate that every once in a while, or how do we kind of?
Yep, it's
Yeah,
rotated
good.
yearly.
Okay,
Yep. Usually based on interest.
sure.
Sometimes if they haven't had the chance, then we ask them. I have had some that say, like, if you don't get anyone, I'll go again.
Okay. Yeah.
Because they like the connections, they like to steal from other schools that have great ideas, and then we have schools that steal from us, and it's a good sharing and trying to kind of raise education all together. And last but not least, just student numbers I had on there, just that as soon as Sarah and John have that in there, but I can give you a rough number without that. So if you wanna go ahead, and I'll give that later.
Okay, any more questions, Dr. Vogel? Alright, old business cybersecurity plan.
So I know in June, you guys approved a cybersecurity plan. The one that you approved was for the staff. So that would be the one for the staff, looking at what standards to teach, what things they have to cover. This one is for the state. So if the state requires us to turn something in, this is what we turn in instead of turning in that thick plan. So this would be more of a, I don't hate to say watered down version, but it's more of what we're doing and not getting into the specifics. And then that keeps us available to have the working document with the teachers, so that can change a lot easier. So if we could get an approval for this one, that would be great.
So, did the state give us something to start with on this?
That was
Still odd.
Wow.
Like, here, have a cybersecurity plan.
That's all they did. And we were wondering, you know, do we need to train our teachers? And we never got a straight answer. Well, maybe. BSC is offering training. It's like, well, does that mean we have to train our teachers? Well, no. So it's,
Okay.
It's
interesting.
very interesting.
So I guess on the plan that we already approved, and it's just a question I was looking into this, do we need to be as extensive as that plan? Was that one actually developed by ND Cell, or where did we get that extensive
was from me,
plan?
actually.
That was you were okay.
Because Elgin did the same thing.
Okay.
But that plan, like I said, is more for the background.
Okay.
We need it to be that deal for our teachers to
Okay.
know that in first grade, this is what they're gonna cover during whatever lessons they are. The state doesn't need to know that.
Okay.
So that's for the background for us.
Yeah, it just seems very extensive.
Yeah.
So does this need a approval, or
Yes,
is
please.
this just for our info?
This one would need
Motion to
approval.
go ahead and approve the cybersecurity plan.
Okay, we got a motion. A second. Need a second, Danny?
Yep.
Okay, motion and a second. Any more discussion on this cybersecurity plan? Okay, seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Alright, NDSB conference, School Board Association conference.
Amber and I need to know who's gonna attend, and you don't have to tell us tonight, but new school board member training is October 22nd. 24th. Law seminar is October 24th at the same time as the new board member training. And then the conference starts the evening of the 24th and goes through the 25th. So if you would like to attend or need a room or both, please let us know and we'll get you in there.
Okay. Last year there was a blizzard.
Yes.
Alright.
Not this year, we don't want it that early.
Well, that's later this year than
We
last.
had a frost warning last week.
Okay. Alright, so maybe let's go let Amber know. She will register us.
Yeah, they're very strict on only one person can register.
Oh, okay.
So don't go register yourselves, please.
Okay. Alright. So you've got new
Yeah, I guess I'm going on the 24th.
I might do law seminar, but I'll let you know. I'll call you. Make sure that's gonna work. Okay, preliminary budget. There's a link to that.
The first page of the preliminary budget is really what the county is looking for, and that's for our mills. Let me find my sheet. You steal it? So, the taxable valuation for Dunn County was $2,349,218. Stark County was $12,551,361. So our total for our district is $14,945,579. So then to get the mill, we move a decimal place 3 places. So 1 mill is $14,945. So for your general fund, take that times 70 mills, and that gives us our dollars of $1,046,190.53, and that's what we're asking for the county in that first line in Fund Group 1. Special reserve or tuition miscellaneous fund, we asked for 12 mills, and that's $179,346.95. Building fund, we have 10 mills in there, so that's $149,455.79. And then the sinking in interest from the bond is 46 mills, $687,496.63. So our total amount of levies is $2,062,489.90. And that was submitted to the county, and then we wait to hear back from them. And like I said, they do some adjustments with valuations and get us real numbers, or closer numbers, I should say. And then we do a final budget in October. The rest of the pages, if you want to look through, is where groups of codes are budgeted. And that's why we don't have a budget in SUI yet, because we don't have it code by code, it's just different groups. So that's where I just did what was budgeted last year, or what was spent last year, and I added 3%, especially to salaries, because that's about what the salary add was. And then some of the others I added 3%. Your revenue was pretty close to what the state predicts that we'll get for revenue on the revenue side. And then by September we'll have a better budget, and it'll be in SUI, and we can go from there. Usually we have this to you before it's due, but it was due the 10th, so that was Saturday. So wait until today.
Okay, any questions on preliminary budget? Looks like we balanced just fine. Preliminary, till you get into the nitty gritty.
Right.
Let's see what you find out. Any questions on budget? Good.
Do they need improvement? I can't remember. I don't think so. No. Oh. Final one, you will.
Okay, move on. Storage container quote.
TRE, their locker rooms are full of chairs, PE balls, hurdles, everything else, and their locker rooms on the stage are also their tornado shelters. So we're trying to get those cleared out, and then there just isn't any room to put it. Lindsay looked at those Connex units for a storage container, and we were thinking of adding one of those on the north side of the gym. So then the PE teacher, if they need something, it's close for they can go and get it, and then use that.
Equipment also is in the locker room.
Yes, stands, chairs.
I would suggest double checking that there's not a city ordinance about having a Connex, because Richardton there is.
Okay,
Just so you're aware.
good idea.
I know that because there's things I wanna do that I was told I have to.
Connex, a minion.
I must be, I have a couple.
Ordinance and things.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Lisa. Cross that off.
I'm sure probably, well, yeah, cause the city has one across the street from my house, so.
Lisa says there is no ordinance. Thanks for coming, Lisa. Answer my question.
So in, I didn't link it. There is a quote in your supplemental materials for a Connex container. And that has one with doors in the middle,
Yeah,
is that
so
correct?
the quote that you see has 3 options on it. I would like to see the double doors, like the top one is a 20-foot and then the bottom 2 are 40-foot. The middle one is a single door and on one end. It's like the amount of things that I'm talking need to go into storage to get to the back of that 40-foot container with one door is not an ideal situation. So the bottom one for that $7,000 is a double door container so that we could kind of try to organize better and access from both sides rather than climbing to the back all the time every time we need to get our bikes out or music stands or whatever.
Yeah, 40-foot straight container is tough to deal with.
Yeah. You know, they make some of them 40-footers, so they got doors in the middle too.
Yeah, you can get them where they're, where I got the quote from, he said you could get them where they like open on the side, like the whole entire, the 40-foot side opens a double door. The one that he quoted me is on the ends, the doors would be on the each end.
And this is a new.
This is a
Connex.
new, yes.
Did you get a quote from Dominic?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, let's,
If you would have answered me, I would have, but no, this is from Schmidt. This is from Schmidt's.
Yeah, the only thing I'd caution you on is keep it organized, because they can turn into just a black hole.
Well, Mr. Ziegler and I had originally talked about, we didn't prefer the Connex container, like we would have liked to do something more, but it's not going to happen like that, and so the resale value on them, like they're easy enough to sell to whomever at that point if we were to do something more permanent, but to make something happen yesterday, this is kind of our only option at this point.
Do you have to do any dirt work, or is there a flat enough spot to set it?
There's a flat enough spot back there. You'll have to do a little bit of dirt work, but not a lot. Well, and I guess that depends upon where they're putting the pads for the HVAC.
They're putting those up next to that emergency door, like right outside the emergency door.
Okay.
There's already something sitting there, so they're gonna level that because it has sank down, put that on concrete. So that would be down by the other,
Okay.
like the container would be down by the
The gym exit.
gym emergency exit, yes.
Need a motion on that?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to go ahead with the storage container. Okay, we got a motion on the storage container. For a second.
Second.
Motion and a second, any more discussion?
Do we need to specify which container we're getting?
Maybe we should. You gotta go with the, I mean, if you need 40 feet, go with the
Yeah, double door.
Yeah,
Yeah, the double door one.
I was basing it on her recommendation.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so a double door container in the motion.
Yep.
Okay, any more discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Oh, and check ordinance.
They already did. They did it already.
Oh, yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Lisa wrote it.
What? I'm
We're good?
sorry, I was reading something.
We're already cool on having the storage unit.
Yes, it's just not on Main Street. That's where you have to have the board approval.
okay. All right, oops, I missed that. Okay, what we got? What's next? CD? I lost my agenda. CD renewal, what's the recommendation there? We're up?
Our rate's still 5, they down below,
4.6.
4.6.
so still worth doing it.
Oh yeah, we're okay with leaving the money in a CD? Sounds good to me. Do we need a motion on that? Sounds like.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve another 6-month CD renewal.
Okay, got a motion for that.
Second.
And a motion and a second, any more discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, we get some open enrollments.
So do you wanna go back to C?
Yeah, you missed C.
District.
Oh, yes, yes, that is a big one here, we need to figure out district strategic plan or training, I guess, right? Or
Yep.
guidance.
Both. Yeah. I met with Mr. Hoff and Mr. Paulson, and we discussed the strategic plan and how long ago it was since the district really did one as a district, the huge amount of work that it takes. And I reached out, we thought it'd be a good idea to reach out and see what one would cost. The one that gets recommended the most in the state is by Dr. Schatz. He was the former superintendent in Fargo. He was also up in Grand Forks as well for a while. And this is all he does now. Works with strategic plan and board governance for everything. Right now, he's doing Killdeer, New Salem, another school around here. So he said this would be a perfect time if we wanted to jump in with him with those. And then he would plan on being here 3 or 4 times throughout the year. He'd also give us tasks to work on. The board would need to have a committee to work on items. Teachers or leadership, including teachers, students, would have to have a committee to work on different items. And you can, I'm not going to read it all to you, but if you scroll all the way down, you see his costs. So the beginning of page 12, 3 to 5 on-site visits, associated Zoom calls to plan strategic planning, planning for meetings, developing and executing a pre-strategic planning survey, crafting feedback loops, and finalizing a strategic plan for the board would be around $8,000. And then if you want to conduct a school board work session to prepare for the process and discuss the development of governance policies, it would be another 2 to 3 hour workshop to discuss governance policies, making those policies, and that's a flat fee of $10,000. So it'd be about $18,000 to do a strategic plan, including governance with the policies. And I have, Wilton went through it, so he sent me Wilton's plan and what their governance policies looks like. I'll go get them here in a minute and you can take a look at it. But I think it would be good for the district to go through the process. And
Are you recommending both? Or?
I would recommend both, yeah. I'll go get those items.
Also do a little bit of mileage and reimbursables too. So. His timeline looks aggressive.
Yeah.
Well, that's something like,
I'm like, okay.
what are we getting out of this deal?
You get more of a comprehensive strategic plan, I think. You know, we did that, Mr. Bouts did our spring strategic plan, you know, and you know, we zipped through that kind of quick. I think if the board wants to step back and really look at what areas should we be focusing on, you know, I think this is the way to, you know, to do it. Actually, you just put some outside time in, or time outside board meetings and stuff, you know.
I feel like that's what we did at that deal we went to in Dickinson 2 years ago. I mean, I don't know.
That was a start, but I guess with this one, what's the follow-up? I think that's more important than anything is, okay, you're gonna develop a plan, but what's our follow-through, or what's our...
Because I think there was things we were promised on that Be Legendary deal that never came to fruition.
No.
Right, and that's where Mr. Schatz is different in that he's there. I mean, we can call him anytime and ask questions, get feedback.
I know, but those people
whatever
were
we need.
suggested from the state to do that deal.
Well, the Be Legendary board training is not your strategic plan. If I'm understanding right, the strategic plan also, or I mean, I guess this is a question too, we can use this then in our Title I.
It's part of it,
It's part of
absolutely.
Title I.
Yep, your
So that
strategic
helps.
plan should be running everything.
so by doing this, it helps check that, I mean, we've
Right.
heard before that this, doing the strategic plan is a heavy lift by the administration.
Right.
So now this piece gets, you know, we heard that that was a lot of hours of the administration. And then, I mean, in my mind, it's just good to, I haven't seen one that was done for the district at all even, you know, so having something like this where you get stakeholder involvement, which can be challenging to get that, but at the same time, it also helps answer the question to the community of, hey, where do we go to, you know, have some input? How do we get involved in the plan of the school? You know,
Right.
so,
the strategic, the Be Legendary is more board governance, where he would still do that. The strategic plan though is more of how the school, you know, operates. What's our goals? What's our mission? What's our values? And is what we're doing lining up to those, or are we shooting all over the place and not hitting where we want to go?
So he's gonna work with board and administration to say, define our priorities.
Yep.
Like, hey, back when we talked about on Be Legendary, we said, hey, we wanna focus on math and reading curriculums. Okay, so this just expands on that a little bit, or
yeah, you'll go deeper.
puts more
into
action items into it, like,
Yeah.
okay, we're gonna do this, this, and this.
Yeah, kind of a combination of both. It's not necessarily action items, because the old way of a strategic plan is you do a strategic plan, then it sits on your desk or up in the cabinet for 5 to 10 years, and nobody looks at it. This we want as a working document. So every year we're going to look at the strategic plan and what did we do, what did we miss, what do we need to continue, what can we. So it's more of a working document once we have it done.
So we do this, okay, that part of it is $8,000, right? Or whatever, so we do this for 8 or 18. Is this a 1-year deal with this gentleman, or does he come back again, or
He would come back if we asked him to.
but you pay again for next year?
No, I don't. Well, he wouldn't have to come back and do the whole thing again.
Right.
So we might have to pay like an hourly rate for his time and travel.
We're paying $10,000 for 2 to 3 hours, so I don't know if I'm really in on doing the hourly rate.
no, the 2 to 3 hours was not.
I know, I just,
Yeah.
that was the other thing.
And just to clarify there, if I'm reading that right, the 10,000 is really just a $2,000 ad, well, maybe not.
That's kind of what I read.
This workshop and development of a set of governance policies require a flat fee of 10,000, so is he asking 8,000 for the,
Yeah, 18,000.
no, I'm assuming that he just means, it doesn't read right, but I'm assuming he just means 10,000 to add the governance piece to the 8,000 for the full strategic
everything.
plan. Is
That
that right?
that would make more sense.
It definitely, yeah, I can't imagine asking 10 grand for just a 2 to 3 hours of a governance
Right.
policy.
Yeah, I immediately added them up.
Yeah,
Because is the governance policy a smaller piece of this?
yeah, the governance policy is somewhat the same idea, I doubt it's the same content as the Be Legendary board training. But, you know, the governance meaning plus the governing board. But the strategic plan really should be the foundational start of your school district's mission, your plan, your strategy.
Yeah, and the governance also is how can the board help with the strategic plan? What's the board's duties to make sure that we're going where we're supposed to be going? I just text them. He should respond if it's 10,000 for both or.
Okay.
See, and then it outlines a committee. He goes about this with a committee of 15 to 26, including a couple school board members, superintendent, a couple administrators, 3 to 6 teachers, 1 to 2 of your support staff, 2 to 4 parents, 2 to 4 community leaders, and 2 to 4 community partners, which I assume means kind of some of the businesses and that, right?
But also, this is not the whole board.
I guess I'd be surprised if if the whole board wanted to, I'm sure it would be doable, right? But
I think it's more just to have two, cause, everything is gonna have to be approved by the board.
right.
So then the two people there would report back to the board of,
Did you get this emailed to you?
what's that?
Did you get this emailed to you?
Mhm.
Would you email it to me, please?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, I was interpreting it as more of a board training deal, but
The governance would be,
the governance piece would be,
yeah,
that would be board,
yep,
or full board.
right.
Okay, okay.
I'm curious what changes school to school, or is he just gonna copy and
Copy
paste it with our name on it
Yeah.
and send it to us and charge us 10 grand?
Yeah.
Because it's fairly vague statements in there, right?
Mhm.
I mean, nothing is real specific.
Right, yeah, and, yeah,
I mean, if you look at the one Mr. Bouts did this spring, is it drastically different than what he's holding in his hand there?
well, that's the governance piece,
Okay,
so that's not the plan.
that's not the strategic
Yeah,
plan,
that's
that's just the
this is
governance
not-
piece.
Yeah, that's the governance.
This is the governance piece?
Yeah.
This is actually a lot of content for a 2 to 3 hour session in my mind. Have you ever done this?
No, not through Dr. Schatz, no.
Anybody? No? I guess I'd make a motion to have, if the board would want further, I would like to see us do this, but if we want further information, if we want to Zoom call Dr. Schatz and ask for questions or
Or at
something
least-
like that for
at least
next
get the
meeting.
clarification on the.
Yeah, and
the
clarification
Yeah.
price.
I mean, how soon does he have to know? I mean, is this something where we can, if we wait a month, we'll just push our timeline and this timeline looks, to me, fairly aggressive.
The advantage of that timeline though then is you have the strategic plan for your Title I and for this year, right?
Right, yeah,
When does when does
That's
that do?
part of the,
that's, in, April.
Okay.
last year we heard a lot about this, that Title I process takes a lot of time, it's a good way to-
Yeah, so even if we slip this timeline a month, you're still in good shape.
Yeah. The biggest thing is he wanted to, save everybody on mileage too, so when he's coming over for Killdeer and New Salem, that he'll hit us at the
So
same.
then is he just gonna
same
give it all to
trip.
Killdeer since that's the farthest one?
Should, yeah.
Gotta go there anyway.
Yeah.
Everybody,
Yeah.
guys.
They'll never notice.
Yeah, no,
Yeah. No, I'm okay with it. I would like a clarification on that,
Yeah.
whatever, so.
Is it something that we can make a decision via email? Say, hey, here's the information, how would you guys like to act on it?
no,
Okay.
no. Have to be an open meeting.
Okay. Well, we do have a motion. What was your? Motion
Well,
to approve depending on.
I guess the motion would be, unless, I guess we could vote on a motion to just sign up for this. I'll make a motion to sign the board up for the $8,000 service for the strategic planning as the first motion. I think in my mind, since the governance is only a 2 to 3 hour, we can vote to add that in the distance if we like what we're getting from him.
Okay. I think a motion on the strategic plan part. Anyone want to second that?
Do we need any more discussion on what the strategic plan is and what we're voting on here, guys?
I'll second it.
Okay, a second. Motion and a second. Do we want more discussion now on what we're gonna vote on? Basically,
I just wanna make sure we're clear on.
I just wanna know what the strategic plan is and how it's used in like a daily basis, cause I mean, I've worked oil field work. I've seen a lot of paperwork come across my desk that, like you say, gets put on the shelf and nobody ever looks at it again, it doesn't really mean anything. How is this different than that?
Yeah. I think it's the way it's set up, and I mean, you have to keep it up to date. Because that, like you said, that's gonna lead to our Cognia review, it's gonna lead to our Title I reports, I mean, the strategic plan should be driving everything.
Okay, and it's enacted, you guys, this is, you go through the process, this is what you're gonna do, this is how you're gonna do it, and details all that stuff out then.
So does it require like a monthly follow-up with the committee or certain people that are, you know, how do we avoid getting it put on the shelf is what I guess my.
Right. Oh, and I think that's where the board governance comes in too, because then, I mean, the board is there to make sure that we're following that strategic plan and doing what we're supposed to be doing. So I think also with that, there's also I think once the committee is made, we want to keep that committee active to, you know, go through, keep going through, and are we doing, you know, what goals are we hitting, what ones are we missing, and those should be that committee that we initially set up here. And then,
So would you report back to the board, cause I sit on a board where they do that
Yep.
strategic plan, they report back to the board and let you know where they're at with the plan?
absolutely, yeah, yeah.
And it's pretty definitive, like goals, like I know, like our 8th graders had pretty bad math scores, right? So one of our goals would obviously get them, their math scores up. And then this would like detail how the process goes to make that happen then?
Right.
It would be that in-depth detailed and these are the
If
goals.
that's what the committee decided to.
See, and that's,
yeah.
to answer your question, that's start, it's just, does the community see this as a concern, a matter of need? So our data says, all right, math scores. Are we okay with them? You know, or we get enough stakeholders together to say, no, this is actually, you know, you might get stakeholders that decide, well, honestly, our reading is more of a concern, even though we're higher proficiency there than, so it just gets a group together to really understand what the community's, you know, that's kind of where you start on that. Then yes, I mean, you work through the process to determine, all right, how does the school and the board support whatever it might be that comes out of there as goals, and how do you measure it as a result. I mean, myself in Wyoming, I did this, you know, as a person that I did the advanced ed, you know, helped with the strategic plan. I'll tell you, as someone that, if you start with nothing and, okay, you're just supposed to put this together as administrator, you kind of go like this, because you're gonna just make it up yourself, and then, but it's tough then to say, yeah, we've got community and stakeholder involvement and that kind of thing, so. We could do it on our own, but having the third party, give a guy that pay, and he's gonna help drive it, right, so.
I guess on page 11, it talks more into the different roles. What the district would be looking at, doing what the district would be responsible for, and then what Dr. Schatz would be responsible for.
You have a page 11?
Yeah, we have like 9 pages on ours.
It's on page 7.
7?
Yep.
Oh. I wonder where the pages are off.
Looks like a fair amount of work.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, I'm good. I think it's a good idea. Any more discussion, questions? You guys ready to vote? Okay, we got a motion and a second on basically doing the strategic plan, part 1 for $8,000. And we'll address the governance plan later, so. On that motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign? Okay, motion carries. Build the strategic plan. Now we can do open enrollments.
I know I'm gonna mess up these names probably. First one is Bukowski. Their student is coming in from Plentywood, Montana, so the open enrollment dates don't pertain to them. It is a 10th grader, and he wants to play football.
No issues on class size, that shouldn't be an issue.
Not with high school.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we get a motion on that?
I'll second.
Okay, motion and a second by John. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries.
The next one is Wrangell. They just moved to Gladstone from Three Forks, Montana. It's a 7th grader. And Misty did some checking and we're good to go with class size and everything else that's needed with that.
We'll make a motion to accept the Ringo family.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. Second by Dwayne. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of the open enrollment for Regal, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Okay, tuition agreements?
Yep, tuition agreement from Paulson. 3rd grade student going from our district into Hebron. So since it's a tuition agreement, both boards have to look it over.
Okay, and a motion on that?
Motion to accept.
Motion, yep, Dave moved, need a second?
I'll second.
Second by John, any discussion on the tuition agreement? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Another one?
And the last one is Peterson. Did you bring the tuition agreement?
She's in preschool.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Oh, I thought that was Hurdle.
that one too.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of preschool.
Well, this one we don't need to do because they're in preschool.
Oh, okay. All right, easy enough. Okay. New hires?
The first one we're gonna hold off on because we were having a hard time getting a hold of her and we're not sure if she's coming here. So we're gonna hold off on that one. Wrangell, that is the mother of the open enrollment you just approved. We hired her as a para. Again, they're coming from, she's been here for a while, her kids haven't, but she's looking for a para job. So, interviewed her and she accepted.
And where are we placing her?
That is here at the high school, special education.
Elementary.
Elementary.
Oh, elementary, okay.
Elementary, 5th and 6th.
Oh. Oh, okay.
5, 6. Okay, we have a motion to approve the hire of that para.
I so move.
Second.
Moved by John, second by Dwayne, any discussion? See none, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carries.
Last one is the assistant principal career advisor position. We offered the position to Jordan Mason. And what we're doing there is, and it's all dependent upon finding a PE teacher. If we don't find a PE teacher, then Jordan will still train in Logan for some of the AD duties, but Logan still goes to the elementary, all his PE classes, his schedule doesn't change. If we can find a PE teacher, then they would take Logan's schedule, so they'd have all the PE at the elementary, plus his classes here. Jordan would be able to move right away into that assistant principal career advisor position, and Logan would move right away into the AD, keeping the PE weightlifting, I believe. And then if we can't find a PE teacher, then Jordan's main purpose or main goal, what she needs to focus on, is career advisor. So she'd have 2 hours a day to do career advisor. The rest of the assistant principal would be covered by me and Misty until we could find a PE teacher. So that's the plan. So it's hard to, I know we're asking you to approve a position.
Are we approving it?
I know, approve a position, but it's all dependent upon finding a PE teacher.
Okay, so basically, approve a transition.
Right.
Transition plan,
Yeah.
I guess, is probably what you're approving for the day.
Right. And as Dr. Vogel said, we do have a couple, I had a couple phone calls today for the PE position. The problem is neither one of them are qualified in PE. One does have a bachelor's degree. The other one has is working on their education, their elementary education, and she's just interested in PE. But both of those, they're here, they're in North Dakota, so and that'll be easier to work with. So I don't think there'll be an issue with either one getting a license or getting certified.
Okay.
Well, this is tough to know what to do with. I mean, the whole thing has been a mess from the get-go. I mean, if we look back in our minutes, we voted to, the motion that was made was to advertise for the assistant principal career advisor, which would be a 10-month contract and so on. So we voted to advertise. You know, for sure in the future, we need good, solid recommendations, and we need data to support. I, for one, have still not seen data to support the why behind this position. Just all I was told when I asked for it was, you got to trust your administration, which, okay, but I would certainly like future positions to give us the data to make a good decision by. I mean, this to me, it's just very poor in the procedure that's gone on. And then now we're being asked to approve a maybe. If the bit of discussion we had on this was overloading of the administration, which wasn't brought up until after the school year, which draws that into question of the why. I think the intent for this position was not brought forward. I'm told to trust as a board member, but yet the intent was never explained to us.
I think though,
I'm really struggling with this.
yeah, I think the why though is, I mean, if you look back at past administrations, I'll use me for example. I was full-time principal here, not AD, just full-time principal, not librarian, not anything else, and that was my job. And I had fewer students, and I didn't have 5th and 6th grade. It was 7th through 12th. So there's absolutely a need for another administrator to help out in those areas with 5th and 6th grade, plus the number of students, plus the other duties that are, you know, being asked of people now. So the need is there. So I mean, I can't speak to what happened before I came, but so.
Yeah, well, and I guess I agree with the position. I think it's a good idea. And I like the fact that we can pull someone up from within. I mean, that's what you always wanna do, right? Just, promote some new people from within and, find a good hire that way. I mean, it's tough when we're a little bit late in at getting to the ballgame here on hiring a PE teacher, but I like the fact that we were able to find someone here that can cover career counselor and wants to jump into this position, so I like it, and the motion was to advertise for a position and we define the position. I think that's a proven position to me.
Right, but that's what needs to be said, instead of making a motion to advertise. And we put ourselves in a bad position here by approving a motion, and I'll echo that I voted no, that didn't define what we were after. And we also had a position that wasn't well defined that we were voting on. What I'm looking for is just some improvement in that process, right? And I agree with you that promoting within is great, but yet what I see here is that we're just shifting up and leaving a gap lower. I get that it's the higher end and that helps, but if we have this need, administration is overloaded, we probably have other needs that we didn't even talk about. And really what's happening here is we're just pushing, we're helping out the administration, but we're probably just pushing that need somewhere else.
Until we can fill it.
Well, but I mean, we're not changing anything if we can't fill it.
Fair.
I mean, everybody, all the PE teachers staying where they are, they're doing the same courses or teaching the same courses, so I mean, we're not leaving a gap anywhere.
Well, and this way we're covering career advisor.
Right.
Which we did agree what we wanted to do.
And that's, and we're doing that by giving Logan AD duties, taking them from Jordan for those however amount of hours Jordan needs it for the career advisor. But all the courses are staying the same.
So was Mason the only one interviewed?
No.
Who else did we interview?
What's that?
Who else did we interview?
We interviewed Mrs. Gullickson.
Oh, okay. Yep. So explain to me the rationale behind doing this where it takes a shift versus someone who was qualified that we didn't hire externally then.
I think the qualifications between the two. I mean, it's an interview process. We interviewed them both, and I mean that's what the committee decided.
You want to be careful about how you answer that question on live video.
Yeah.
Talking personnel issues.
Yep.
Would you like my chair?
Sarah put some WD-40
I
on
would
this one.
gladly switch you since you're around. Let me help you.
I'll try and sit still.
No, you don't have to. I was just wondering. I'll switch it by next time.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
At what point are we going to decide we're not having someone, so, I mean, this obviously affects our scheduling also, so I'm trying to, what is the timeline? School starts in a week. When are we going to decide that Mr. Miller is staying, Mr. Miller is going? We're just gonna wait till Wednesday next week, and if we have somebody cool, if we don't, Mr. Miller's coming, covering what he is covering. You understand what I'm asking? I was just told up until, if we don't have somebody the day school starts, well, that's kind of pushing it.
No.
To wait till the day school starts. So what is our timeline considering we're a week out from in-service?
We don't know what the timeline is. It depends. I mean, we said before that we'd keep that PE teacher open until we can find somebody.
So if it happens in the middle of the year, you're gonna do it in the middle of the year?
If it's a quality candidate.
Right.
Okay.
So talk to me about how the AD position was determined. The transition with the AD.
That was
Athletic director.
Logan had talked about interest in it, and Jordan had talked about giving some of it up and training Logan in previously.
So we didn't do any sort of advertising or
not for
checking
AD.
for interest?
No,
Is
not
that
for the AD position.
maybe something we should not encourage, is just someone's in line for a position and not double check with the rest of the staff?
We could open it up, but
I think I'd like to see that. I guess I don't know, but just a matter of procedure again, that I think would be wise to do those, be transparent.
But there again, you're asking the same thing that we did, because if somebody else wants it and we want them, then what are we gonna do for their position?
Oh, I get that,
You know,
I mean, I get that this is a
But you were
mess
complaining
and
about
cleaning
that
this up
with
now
the
is
other
difficult.
one, so you're
Oh,
asking us
yeah.
for us to do the same thing.
I get the long contradiction, I wasn't trying to contradict myself in saying that the plan with Logan and that alone as well, I don't think it works well, nor do I condone the idea of just assigning someone a role based on, that's what you're the next in
Well,
line.
it's his experience also,
And what did we
and his willingness
explore
for
any other
athletics.
experience? I think you get where I'm going though, is that we should be transparent and
Yeah.
explore.
Yeah.
There might be other staff that are interested.
Did we get anybody that applied for just the career advisor position?
No.
No one.
We had a couple other applicants for both, but they didn't have any qualifications. Either one of them didn't even have a teaching license.
Any more discussion, questions? What are our wishes?
Well, I think this is I think there's other needs in the school. I think we need to see data of the other needs in the school. I think we need to give Mr. Ziegler enough time to assess staff and make a recommendation. I move to negate the position.
Negate the position. Cancel it altogether.
Correct.
No career advisor.
The assistant principal, the career advisor, we probably need to continue to explore. But it's really, in my mind, no different than what we got going on right now.
Okay, we got a motion. You have a second. Second to that motion? Second. Okay, seeing none, motion fails.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and hire Mrs. Mason for the assistant principal position with the plan that they have set forth. If they can't find one, then we'll go with that.
Okay, we got a motion to hire Ms. Mason as the assistant principal career advisor under Russ's plan.
So with that, no matter what happens, she'd be the career advisor effective basically immediately then?
Correct.
Yeah, I'd second that motion.
Okay, a motion and a second on that. Any discussion? More discussion?
The only thing that I mean, I kind of struggle with some of the same things Damien's saying as far as the if. I'm just struggling with that. Like, I understand it, and I understand that's, in order to make it work, that's the way it looks like it needs to happen, but I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of positions in our school that we have that aren't fully certified or fully credentialed or fully, you know, there's just and I know there's a shortage and I know it's everywhere and I know it's a big deal. I fully understand that. But again, kind of back to his old point too, is this is something we should have done a long time ago, not something we should have done a month before school. That's where my struggle is too. I mean, I like the idea of who you picked. I think she would be great and you know, whatever, but yeah, I don't know.
I think part of the problem is we just don't, I mean, we're still looking for a 6th grade teacher. That's been posted for how long already? We don't have one. And you're gonna have that with Phi-Ed, you're gonna have that with almost everything. Schools down south are bringing in teachers from other countries. We don't have.
Are the credentials for a Phi-Ed teacher less than for a 6th grade teacher? Are they about the same, or same credentials required for both positions?
For the license, yeah.
For the license?
Yeah. Actually, the PE teacher probably requires more courses than the elementary, because PE teachers are K-12, where elementary would be K-8.
Okay.
Well, Dwayne, to your point though, we don't have a shortage of teachers in our community. We have a challenge in attracting talent. And we can talk more about that outside the board meeting.
Oh, I don't, nobody's applying for sixth grade
I'm aware of
teaching.
that.
But
That's
you
what
can
I'm
also
basing it off.
put that in, you can also work on that in a strategic plan.
That's
There
exactly,
you go.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, that's where you develop some of these strategies and work on it.
Exactly.
I mean, good place to do it. Yeah, I mean, I'm good with it. I mean, I like the transition. I think it makes sense. You know, as a board and a board member, I don't like to get too far into the weeds on, you know, which teacher's doing exactly what. I think that's why we have administration and principals. I think that's why, you know, we have them to do their job and let them recommend to us what they wanna do. You know, that's why I'm good with it. Any more discussion? Discussion. Seeing none, let's proceed to vote on this motion for assistant principal / career advisor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Okay, one opposed. Okay, motion carries. Measure 4, discussion.
Mr. Senior, do they need to do approval for Mrs. Dyer for sped?
Oh, yes. Lindsay met with the special ed teacher today, or was it yesterday? Today, with an applicant for special ed for the elementary at TRE. They interviewed an individual. She's gonna be on the plan of study, as she mentioned during her report, the elementary principal's report. Plan of study through UND. She already has a teaching license in Minnesota that will transfer to North Dakota. So she already has a teaching license. It's just getting the coursework done for the special education portion of it. And we offered her the position.
You need approval?
Yes.
I move to approve.
Name again on that?
Mrs. Thayer is her name, Miss Thayer, I should say.
Okay, we got a motion to approve, and that was an advertised needed position.
Yes.
Okay. Second Dyer. Second to John, any discussion? Discussion. Okay, seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay. Measure 4.
So measure 4, if you're not aware, is the measure that eliminates property taxes. And that could have, we're not sure what's gonna happen because there isn't a plan on where the funding's gonna come from if the measure passes. So that's the concern from schools, ambulances, fire departments, cities, counties, pretty much everybody who gets property tax dollars. So if we lose those dollars, then like I said, I'm not sure what can happen. Some people are saying it's gonna take local control away, because now a board can't just spend the public dollars or the property tax dollars that they used to be able to. For that, you're gonna have to start going to the state legislature and requesting funds. Because like I said, they don't have anything down on where those dollars are gonna be replaced with. The caveat is, as a school, we cannot say you have to vote yes or you need to vote no. We just wanna give the facts on both sides, and we can, help people with the facts. As individuals, it's more of a reminder for everybody here, as individuals, you can do what you want. But if you're representing the school, you have to be careful not to not to give one way or the other. So I guess I wanted to bring it forward, just so we're aware of it, just so we know what's going on, and I guess to get opinions too. I mean, what do you want me to do as the superintendent of the school? What's your direction for me? There is a Keep It Local foundation that started to kind of combat, per se, the property tax measure 4. So I don't know if that's something we want to join, if we don't want to join, or.
I think it's kind of a catch-22.
It is.
I had somebody on the legislature reach out to me because I have reached out to them multiple times about our issue with basically Gladstone. We get so many students from Gladstone, a significant amount more than Dickinson does, but they're part of Dickinson's district. So they specifically reached out to me on that and asked if that would solve the issue. And I said, well, on paper, sure it might, but what about the rest of it? Because what they were saying is that the legislature would take over all the per pupil funding. And the way I look at it is, if we could get the same funding where we can offer our teachers the same money as a Dickinson, as a Fargo, as a whoever, I'm in.
Right.
But how's it gonna look? Is it gonna be based on what you're getting now? And is it like, there's so many things that I think could go screwy on that deal, that basically what I said is, on paper, it would take care of it, but it depends on what everything else that goes along with it.
Right, and that's the issue is, what's the plan?
Well, right now, there is none. That's
Right.
basically what I was told.
Yeah.
There isn't one right now, but
Right.
they're just starting discussion on it, is basically what I was told.
Take it once they got enough addition balance to get on the ballot.
Talk to Dory how, and it's like the amount of money you receive is gonna be based on this budget that we're writing right now.
They don't know that yet.
So that's what they're gonna base it on. That's what she told me. So yeah, it won't make any difference, any more money coming from the kids from Gladstone.
Well, it would, yeah. Yes and no. Like I
Well,
said,
you
it
get
depends on
per-
how it's written.
You get
So
per pupil
your
aid.
your per pupil is gonna be higher because you're getting rid of property tax, allegedly.
And they don't
So-
even know where they're gonna pull the funding from.
Right. I mean,
I think
there's
what
another
bothers me
answer
the
where they
most
should
is
come
that,
from, but.
you know, won't affect our school district so much, but other school districts, let's just say that, like Belfield, I'll use them, because I know they're thinking about building a school. So if they have to go and ask for money from the state, you know, it's not like, oh, the state may say no, and then what are you gonna do? You have a choice of either hooking up. That there should be up to the people in the district. If they wanna spend the mills to build a new school, that should be up to them. And I don't think the state should. And this is gonna take away a lot of power from your local school boards, towns, counties. It's not, and Dory said, there's nothing written. I mean, it's gonna be all up to the legislation to decide how this is all gonna, and they don't know where they're gonna get the funding from to do it all.
Yeah, I
You know,
guess,
some are talking about pulling money out of the legacy fund. Dory said you can't pull money out of the legacy fund, it's already in the constitution of the legacy fund, you can't take it out.
It's restricted.
You can spend the interest, but you can't take money out of it.
I guess you asked what we would wanna know would be those questions. What's the plan? You brought it up, but also what's the transition plan? I mean, something like this, think that it can happen in a cold turkey, all right, you know, some
And I think
this
it's
day
gonna
on
pass.
Labor Day, no more
Yep.
property tax. I mean, the piece I'd like to understand is what is the transition plan? And then
Well,
also,
there isn't, from what Dory said, there isn't any until the legislators meet. That's when they're gonna come up with the plan.
so,
And that's after it's voted in?
That's after it's voted in.
So get voted in
The
November,
property tax, I mean,
in
end of
spring.
it would be, yes, voted before the funding end of it would have voted,
Right.
yes.
yeah, so there you're putting the cart before the horse, so. Then also, I think the legislature would be remiss to not have some sort of exit plan from this when you look at other states that have done this, Wyoming, Alaska, and then where they're at now is their
Wyoming doesn't have
revenues.
property tax? Correct.
So you get into as the state's revenues change and decrease, I mean, we're all on that oil tax high right now, and that's bound to be level to decreasing moving here forward. So anyway, I'd really like to see the plan be produced before the action.
Because the way I understand it is basically the education committee is essentially kind of sitting there like, well, we need to come up with something. But I would directly want to know how they're going to figure out per school funding.
But I think to your question, Mr. Ziegler, are you asking, you know, do we pick a side? And I think
Not necessarily, I mean, we can't pick a side, no,
Okay.
no.
You know,
But like what Damien was saying, I mean, if, I'll keep sending you guys any information that I get from, you know, either side, and then we'll have to just go from there, cause I mean, it'd be nice to know what the plan are and what the exit plan is if they have one, but literally there is none. So, and we won't have one until the legislature meets, which is after the election, after the vote. So.
yeah, and it was just simply a measure drawn up and put on the ballot by signatures, so.
It's there,
Yeah, it's there.
it's
Yeah.
there.
Who knows how it's gonna play out.
Right.
So that information you sent us out the other day, could you send that out to everybody in our district in an email to inform the voters that way?
Well, and that, I guess that was more my question, do you want me to have informational meetings or send out information to the community, or how, what do you want?
It's hard to
All you can do
that.
is present facts.
That's all, yeah, that's all we can do.
Whatever
Yeah.
facts you get, I think are good to put out there, I think that's a good idea.
But is it hard to do that without it
Being biased.
appearing that you're picking a
You're
side?
biased, yeah,
You know,
Not if you
like,
put both sides on, I mean,
you're right.
you know, yeah. That would be the only, you know, danger. How is it perceived? You know, if something goes out, it's like, oh, there again, yeah. Perception could be the same white paper. One person takes it this way, the other person takes it the other way.
Right.
So,
You know, too. So that'd be the caution I would maybe throw out there is,
Yeah.
how is that perceived? I mean, I like having the information to me, you know, the facts that we send out. I mean, I think that's fine. For board members and stuff.
exactly.
I don't know if I would mass mail it to the community
Right.
on that. I don't even know how we do that.
Well, and I mean, and we're having our truth and taxation meeting on right before the September board meeting, so that might be a place to throw this in there as
Or
well.
have that information out.
Right.
I think that would be okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah, I think
that's what I was wondering, so.
any factual information you can get out there that's not showing bias
Right.
somehow, it'd be good to get out, I mean,
Might have to send it to Rachel first.
not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Any more discussion on the report? RACTC report.
We had a meeting last week, Wednesday, enrollment was really good. Heavy equipment is really, something that there's a lot of kids interested in heavy equipment. I think they ordered 2 more simulators, I mean, it's a big deal.
And that's in that CTE center in
Yep.
North Dixon.
Yeah, I toured the other B and C buildings, man, there's stuff out there. If anybody wants, I mean, you should all go see it, it's worth going to see, they've got some great stuff there. So, other than that, nothing new.
we got some of our kids going through some of their programs right now, or are we doing it?
Yeah, we have some kids signed up for heavy operating equipment. We have some anatomy tables, or a anatomy table coming for our science because we're part of the consortium. So they're getting on a schedule for that, and Rhonda is working on training Jen and Rhonda sometime in the next couple of months. So we'll just cover classes if they have training during the day or whatever.
There's 2 Rondas.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's two
sorry. I'm
Rhondas.
There's Rhonda
sorry,
from
RACTC
RACTC.
Rhonda, and then Rhonda, a science teacher. It's kind of like
Science teacher
acronyms,
one.
we should just read our mind.
Yeah.
But we did give out the booklet registration, went through some with some of the students and whoever had questions, and I do see that we'll get more and more interest moving forward. One of their highest and biggest programs are their health careers, but now Jen Frank is also qualified in a lot of that. So she's doing some of that here where they have a smaller class and they can do a lot of things. If they can't fit it in their schedule or whatever, they can still take it through RACTC, but there's some other fun things coming through too, and so that depends on the kids have a lot of options, cause they have,
They have a lot of stuff going on over
yeah,
there,
they
right?
have RACTC, they have, now we're putting on art on GWN, but that's mostly just signing up a whole class. But then you have your Lake Region, and you have your BSc, and you have all these other options that and then you have NDCEs, that they have lots of options that we didn't have. Yeah.
So on the heavy equipment, like, do they have to schedule time to go up and be on the simulators?
They do.
Or is that?
Yep. Yep.
Cause I know that's a little bit of the hassle, okay,
Yeah,
minutes
they
in it.
do a lot.
When they're done with the simulators, they actually take them out, they have a little playground in the back.
And
where
they
got a
get
dirt
to
pit?
go out, yep,
Cool.
and we have a couple of people interested.
And we do get a little bit of transportation reimbursement when we're sending kids to the CTE centers.
They also do truck driving.
Mhm.
They have simulators for that, and they also take the truck out in the parking lot.
Nice.
It's a great,
With the truck driver, they must have to be 18 to do that one, right? Like you have 18
I'm not sure what they, you know,
Don't you? I think you have 18 to get your CDL.
Yeah.
yeah, but this is getting just,
Maybe you get a permit at 17.
But it's training they wouldn't necessarily get anywhere
Yeah.
else, that they're
Right.
prepared for the jobs that they
Right.
want,
Yeah.
so it's
Right,
just
and yeah,
getting
they
in
might
there,
take
getting
it and
going.
say, I'm not gonna be a truck driver.
Yeah, they might. And last but not least, right now, numbers say 197, 5 through 12.
197.
Yeah. But like I said, that will fluctuate.
Okay, WERC report, is
That's new.
that's new? Was that?
So,
140 was through.
Rough Rider, Regional Center is now joining Williston's Regional Center, and they made one called WERC. So it's the Western Education Regional Cooperative is the name of it. So Rough Rider is no longer in existence. The Board of Work is the superintendents currently. If board members want to participate, they're more than welcome, but you don't have to have a member on the committee anymore. And I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate, but I was voted as the first president of the committee, so
Oh,
yay.
congratulations.
So yeah, we're in the process of writing bylaws for it and trying to figure out how the two are gonna mesh together. So we're building the plane as it's in the air.
Okay. That's it?
That's it.
Okay. Next meeting, September 11th. 7 p.m.
And then our truth and taxation meeting will be at 6.
Okay, so there will be a meeting before that.
Not a board meeting, but you're more than welcome
Public
to-
meeting.
Yep, public meeting.
Okay, meeting adjourned.